So you describe your work as capturing a moment in time and a moment that never existed. Can you explain what you mean by that?
I think photography is always capturing a moment in time, just in terms of light bouncing off stuff, but we interpret that as meaning that it was a real version of what was there then, and changing lenses and all sorts of things in our own perspectives, it might not really have been the truth of what was there. And so I don't really care about exactly what was there that very moment. And so if later I replace the sky, which photographers have been doing for hundreds of years, or stretch the mountains a little bit, or whatever, to me that's more true to what I was seeing there. But it's getting away a little bit from the idea that photography is just a recording medium that documents what it sees in a truthful way.
I like the term post-wilderness landscape. Knowing that you are a dedicated mountaineer, would you say that your work is a critique of the human intervention in the landscape, or is it something other than that?
I like my term post-wilderness because I think it's partially me on an emotional level trying to get over the fact that so much wilderness has been lost, what I used to think of as wilderness, or we all did, and still see a kind of sublime beauty in what we see, even if there's a high tension line running through it. At the same time, as a mountaineer, it's kind of reflecting on, I spend a lot of time in the urban world, as most of us do, but I do still get out to true wilderness. So for me, a lot of these landscapes are what's in between. It's not for me going from the city out to this former wilderness, but now it's like you can see parts of the city and human intervention there. It's more like if you're coming from wilderness where there really isn't, you don't notice any human intervention. This is actually in between those two places. So I think it looks less despoiled in some ways. In some ways it's more clear, the little bits that are changed when you've been like in a high alpine environment. Post-wilderness is kind of, it's both a different term for the wildland urban interface, which I find very unwieldy, but it also is more of a, philosophically, I think it's that I don't really believe in the term wilderness to begin with. It was kind of used as a term to other what was not human. And so in that sense, I don't think what humans are doing is exactly unnatural, because we're natural, we're, animals. So to me, it's either all natural or it's all non-natural or whatever. So post-wilderness is kind of referencing not using the term wilderness. Even though if I had a shot that was apparently just wilderness, I think I would call it post-wilderness.
One of the things that visitors ask constantly is, where is this? You've chosen to not put descriptive label tags or even titles on the walls with the work. What is your interest in the gap between the just partially recognized location and the specifically named site?
Again, I think this speaks to it being a document of a place that is assumed to be objective. And I think when we put the name on it, it keeps it in that place. You don't look too much beyond that because you're like, oh, cool, that's a picture of Ventura, or, yeah, I've been there. On the other hand, we love that, and I love that. It's like growing up on National Geographic, and I do want to know. I think for me, it's trying to find a balance, again, I think, between painting and film and kind of document versus a made-up thing, a picture. And so a lot of these are named in ways that do reference where it is, and some people would know where that was. So Ventura Overhead, that's pretty clear, it's near Ventura probably. If you were a surfer, you would know exactly where it was. One is Mazama Caldera Vista, and Mount Mazama is the mountain that Crater Lake is in. So it's just funny to me that it's really big, it's quite a big volcanic mountain. But because it blew off its top and got filled in with water, now we know it is Crater Lake. But Mazama is the name of it, and just nobody really knows that anymore. So I think it's interesting, kind of on a sciencey level of actually knowing the place's name. On the other hand, I feel like if I can throw it off just enough, then we don't just assume that like, oh yeah, I've been to Crater Lake. So we do look at it in a new way.